Right, well, the weather's broken a little bit and it's not been bad the last couple of days, so I've taken the chance to get out and start doing work on the boat. Now, I was going to do this over some videos of this over the winter. Unfortunately, I just haven't got onto the boat because of all the rain and wind we had. I've just covered the boat over to try and get it dry and left it at that, and even then the water's still finding its way in. There's been so much of it. So anyway, yeah, so today's video will be that, and then hopefully it'll be like the fishing, foraging videos. I'll try and put those out over on the weekend, and I may put them up in between, or I might put these maintenance videos up in between as well. But like I said, this is all part of the preparation, fixing up the boat and getting everything done, ready for the coming season. And like I say, I'm replacing everything. I'm replacing all the mid sort of cuddies are being all lockers kind of thing are all being replaced. And the stern, I've got to do a lot where the engine is. I want to do that on fiberglass, all the seat to reinforce it, and all sorts is going on. So like I say, I really need to crack on with that, and it sort of limits my time with fishing and fishing videos, especially when the weather's nice now, because that's the only time I can get this done. Obviously fiberglass in, it's got to be completely dry, and the wood as well, I've got to keep it dry because obviously I can't work on it or resin on it when it's wet. So anyway, today's will be maintenance stuff, and then weekend again we'll be back onto a bit of fishing. Now, when you have a boat on a beach mooring, or a mooring that doesn't dry, or one that isn't a pontoon, you're going to need a good pump in it. I mean, it's all very well if you've got a boat, say in the marina, you can go down, you can empty it out any time, you know, it's easy enough to get to, it's well sheltered in there. But when you've got your boat stuck on a beach or on an open bay somewhere, obviously it's exposed to the elements and there's not much you can do. You might go out, you might leave your boat out on a nice calm day. The very next day you've got 4, 6 to 8 winds and your boat is stuck out there, and there's no way you're getting out there in a dinghy either if it's too far out. A bit like my mooring, it's, you know, once it's out there, it's out there. So one of the worst things you can have is obviously water getting into your boat. Now if it's raining a lot and it's filling up, then your boat is getting heavy, it's getting sinking in the water, it doesn't bounce around with the waves as easy, and it starts to, you know, take more water, or it could do. So you really want the water to be pumped out. So what I do is I have a pump. Now I put a pump like this in a pot like this. Now the idea is because my boat is open, I get a lot of little shellfish, like winkles, that kind of thing, seaweed, that sort of stuff. It gets down, it gets into the hole, and later on you get that horrible stringy weed on the ropes, and that comes off, goes down, and ends up getting to the pump. Now, this here is basically just a biscuit tub, and I drill lots of holes in it. I've actually got, I'll show you, 1 minute. This is the old one that's been doing the last few years. And that's all it is. That's just for the pipe to come out, and it's just full of holes like that, and it acts as a grill. And this works, I mean, I've been using this for a few years, and this works extremely well. Without it, you are constantly having to open this up and clean the pump, and that's no good, especially if you can't get to your boat. If it bungs up when you're not there and it's not pumping, big problem, like I say, especially if the boat's stuck out in a storm. I mean, you try not to leave your boats out in a storm, and obviously beach moorings, if they dry out, then you can get to the boat and empty it, but if they don't dry out, you want a good pump. Now the pumps I use, this one's actually stuck in here, but you can see it's a red one. This is a Johnson pump, and it was never the most expensive pumps, but out of all the pumps I've ever used, this has been the most reliable pump. I mean, I've had these pumps going in the boat in my boat with all the rubbish, you know, all the bits of weed and stuff, 3, 4, 5 years. I had one which was like 12 years old or something ridiculous. They are fantastic. I have actually gone through 3 or 4 other pumps in literally 18 months that I was using, trying different ones, and they just failed, they jammed up, the impellers broke, they rusted, all sorts of garbage. But these things, these are fantastic. Like I say, I bought one of these years ago because it was like in a discount basket. I thought, I'll buy that for my old boat. And it pretty much served the life of the boat all the time I had that boat. It was fantastic. So I picked up another one, thought, are they going to be the same? Sure enough, fantastic. And not only that, with these you can twist this top, there's a little lever there, you twist that, pop it open, and you can get to the impeller, it all comes out. I'll show you actually. So basically you do that, you twist it, and out it pops, and you can get to the impeller in case anything gets caught in there, fishing line, anything you don't want. But that's the whole point of this, is it will stop it. Now I'm still making this. Obviously I've got to drill holes all the way around, so it'll take a little while. But no, that works really well. Like I said, the grills on pumps, even when they've got a secondary grill, they don't tend to work great. Usually because you want to base the holes obviously as the size of the stuff you get in your boat. Now if your boat is just a fishing boat, no pots and that, you're not going to get so much of a problem with this, but things like pots and that will mess it up. Although fish can be a problem as well, because quite often you can get fish scales and they stick into the pump and bung up the pump. So again, and it's like I say, it's really important that you get your pump on a boat when you can't get to the mooring. It's all operated with a float switch, so when you're not there it'll pump the water out. And I also have an override switch that I can flick on, because when you motor forward all the water will rush back and you can get rid of that last bit of water. So there you go. But anyway, I'm putting a new pump in this year. The old one still works fine, but it's been in there 2 years, so I want to switch it out because it might be getting a little bit low, you know, pressure. It might not pump as good as it did and that kind of thing, so I want to put a brand new one in this year. Being that I've got the boat here and doing everything, I just as well switch out the new stuff. So you want to make sure you've got plenty of holes in this when you do it, because you don't want, if you've got too little holes, the pump can almost want to suck the water through hard through just those few holes. If you've got lots of holes, there won't be so much suction. The trouble is that suction will cause things to want to stick to over the holes, or could cause it to stick to the holes. Now the motion of the boat usually, with the water washing back and forth, keeps it clear anyway, and as soon as it stops pumping, the water will rush back down my pipe, the one I've got, and it will flush out, so it tends to keep everything clear. But yeah, just make sure you've got plenty of holes in it, so that even if you block up say half, it's still not sucking through those holes like a, you know, like a jet almost. You want it to just be literally pouring in through the holes as opposed to being anything sucked up against it. Now another little tip when it comes to pumps, the float switch. This is, you see a lot of these around. I've used them. I've gone through several of the, or quite a few of these, and I'm not a big fan of them. They do work. The trouble is if you get them like that and the wires come in here, the wires tend to go up there, they wrap around each side of this onto this kind of thing. The trouble is the wires are wrapped like, I suppose you'd say like that, and every time that goes up and down it basically does that, only a little bit, but after a year, so I'll say a year, it varies, that will break. The wire inside eventually just succumbs and breaks inside, and then the float switch doesn't work. And I've gone through lots of these over the years, these kind of float switch. They do work, but not brilliant. Then I ended up, now this is not this particular one, this is just an example. I don't know if you can see in there, but you'll see the wires come into the end. So basically the wires go in the end there, they go straight in. They don't wrap round the edge. And I've got a float switch like this in the boat now, and I've had that float switch in there for 3 years, and I've had no problems. It's never broken. Now again, obviously my float switches do a lot of work, because when you do crab pots you pull a lot of water in the boat, so it's going to probably work a lot harder than say somebody else's switch. This on a regular fishing boat might last you a couple of years if you're lucky. You might even get ones that last longer, but it depends on this wire, like I say, and what make it is and all the rest of it. But I do know that I've gone through lots of these. In fact, I've gone through these in less than a season before. And this one, like I say, I've got one like that where it comes in straight in the end. It's not bending the wires, it's going up and down, but the wires aren't flexing, like actually bending on themselves. So it does last a lot longer normally. It's just a tip there if you ever buy float switches. So as we may already looked at, I'm going to be sorting this back part out. Now under here you can see that I resined it. This was to stop it getting water, and basically, I don't know if you can see there, but in there the clamps are crushing in. The wood in there is actually rotting along this top edge. On the inside, this back edge, it's got a thick layer of fiberglass, so it's not too bad. It's still solid after I poured resin and that into it, So I'm going to be cutting this away. I'm going to cut this out and hopefully put maybe a stainless plate all the way along. I don't know yet. I might just scarf in a new bit of wood. But the important bit is going to be the back here. Now, I don't know if you can see, you've got this old piece. Now this is a bit of mahogany or something along those lines. And I'm going to take this completely off and I'm going to replace it with marine ply. I've got some really good 2cm marine ply, same thickness as this. That is in the shed and it's been kicking around for a long time, but it's really good stuff. So I'm going to put that in because that'll be a lot stronger than having that, because that could split on the grain if the engine ever pulled back hard, or you know, if something broke it could go. The other thing we're going to do to make this better than this, I don't like this bits and pieces kind of thing. We're going to take it from there. I'm going to come straight down, and then somewhere about there we're going to go along like that to about there. Then we're going to notch down for this bit here, because this bit here where that cut is, this is where the engine presses against it. You can see the little fin bits obviously carved that out over the years, or the last couple of years. Like I say, I put these on, I replaced them, what the wood that was there. Again, it was whatever they made this out. It was like a mahogany kind of stuff, or hardwood of some description. So I'm going to remove this. That will make this much stronger, plus it will reinforce the back, because you'll be spreading the load across the back. Now it's not rotten far down, you can see here it's pretty damn solid under there, but I do know that it's starting here. So when I cut this out, I'm going to scarf in a new piece in here, and I'm going to pour, it's like a very runny resin, it's for making rotten wood go hard, just in the bottom of the wood. Even if it's not rotten, I'm just going to harden up that wood just to secure it for many, many years basically. So that's the plan. And there's plenty more to do. This has got to come off. I'm going to put a new sounder on it this year, so we're going to get rid of that one, and we're getting rid of that one, because this one was from a Lowrance. The Lowrance that messed up after a year or two. It was rubbish, and you can see even the sounder thing. Look at it. It's actually look at that trash. I mean, it's just literally falling to bits, that one. This one's older. Look at that, much better quality. This is yeah, this is an old Lowrance. This is a modern Lowrance. So there you go, says it all. Anyway, that'll be the plan for the back. And as you can see here, the wood underneath is no good, so I'm going to be fiberglassing all of this as well, taking all that off, stripping it all back. Quite a bit of work that I need to get done, and we've got about a month before I want to get the boat down. So, and as you, I don't know if you can see under there, maybe not, but I've got boxes. I'm going to be removing everything in boxes, redoing the whole thing. So we're going to make this boat much, much better. Of course, the cat's always interested in everything we do, hey? Yeah. We've got to go and cut wood now. She always does that, walks in front of your feet and trips you over. Yeah, you do. Right. This is the wood that's been kicking around in here for a long time. Spiders and all. Check out the spider. Woo. Yeah, this one's the one we're going to use. Or I've got another sheet, so. And what was it? 12? It needs to be 16. So if this isn't 16, which I don't think it is, and it isn't, what about that? Is that 16? Just under, that would do. It doesn't have to be exactly 16, I can be slightly under. I just sort of made it 16, as you might say. As long as that is, where's my book? I wrote it all down. It needs to be 19.5 wide. Wow, just about. That's 20 wide, that. Perfect. It needs to be 16 long, or we can get away with slightly under, yes. 15 3/4, close enough for what we're doing. So there we go. This will be the piece. I can always shape it a bit more if I want after. But you see this bit. This bit actually is down near the water. So what I might do is I might stand that in some of the, like a wood hardener. It's like a resin, very runny resin, and it soaks up into the wood and makes it go hard. It's used on rotten wood, so I might stand it in that just to soak up into it, just to stop it rotting, or you know, wanting the water to siphon off it. So we'll see. Let's see. We get all the bits ready before we take everything apart, and it's just quick to put it all back together. So basically it'll go like that. The thing is, it may look a bit bigger, may look a bit bulkier even, not as maybe neat as that little triangle, but we are adding strength to the stern of the boat. That is the idea, is to make this stern strong, to reinforce it, just in case the wood on this side is getting old. This will make it much stronger. And like I say, my clamps have been crushing down on the inside, so if I can get this sorted, we'll put a stainless plate on the inside probably. We're good to go. And like I say, this will be a hell of a lot stronger. This is what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 layers, whereas that's just could split on the grain easily if it took a huge amount of strain. Rather go overkill than not enough.